My dear brothers and sisters, sometimes Allah does not take something away from us as a punishment. He takes it away as a warning. You begin to notice respect fading, doors closing, people distancing themselves, and you wonder what went wrong. Listen carefully. It may not be your enemies. It may be habits. Allah already warned us about habits that silently destroy your image, your dignity, and your standing in the hearts of people. Today, let us reflect, not to shame ourselves, but to save ourselves before the damage becomes permanent. 1. Speaking without thinking, the tongue that destroys honor. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the quickest ways a person destroys their own image, dignity, and respect is through the tongue. Many people believe that their biggest problems come from what others do to them, but in reality, a large portion of damage comes from what they themselves say. Islam teaches us very clearly that words are not light, harmless sounds. Words are heavy. Words carry meaning, intention, and consequences. A single sentence spoken without thought can undo years of good character, trust, and respect. When a person speaks without thinking, they expose their emotions, their impatience, and sometimes even their hidden arrogance. This happens when someone talks too much, jokes excessively, makes sarcastic remarks, spreads gossip casually, or responds immediately when they feel angry or hurt. In those moments, the tongue moves faster than the mind, and the heart is not consulted. Over time, people begin to notice. They may not correct you, they may not confront you, but quietly, respect starts to fade. Trust begins to weaken, and your image suffers without you even realizing why. Allah warns us about careless speech because once words leave the mouth, they can never be taken back. You may regret them, you may apologize sincerely, but the words have already entered hearts, planted thoughts, and sometimes caused wounds that take a long time to heal. A harsh comment can stay in someone's memory for years. A careless joke can destroy a relationship. A moment of anger can permanently change how people see you. That is why Islam teaches us to pause, reflect, and control the tongue before it controls us. My dear brothers and sisters, a believer is not known by how much they speak, how loudly they express themselves, or how quickly they respond. A believer is known by wisdom, restraint, and calmness. Silence, when practiced with intention, is not weakness. Silence is strength. Silence protects honor. Silence saves relationships. Silence prevents regret. Many people have protected their dignity simply by remaining quiet at the right moment, while others have destroyed their reputation by saying just one unnecessary sentence. When you train yourself to think before speaking, you begin to carry yourself with dignity. You stop reacting to every comment. You stop explaining yourself to people who do not want to understand you. You stop engaging in conversations that lead to sin, gossip, or regret. Instead, you speak with purpose. You speak with kindness. You speak only when your words add value. This discipline does not come overnight, but it is one of the greatest signs of spiritual maturity. Before you speak, pause for just a moment and ask yourself 3 simple questions. Is what I am about to say pleasing to Allah? Is it necessary to say it right now? And is it kind, or will it hurt someone unnecessarily? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then silence is better for you. That silence may protect your image, preserve your reward, and save your heart from regret. My dear brothers and sisters, the tongue can either raise your status or destroy your honor. Choose carefully, because every word you speak is either building your character or breaking it. 2. Complaining about everything, ungratefulness that pushes respect away. My dear brothers and sisters, one habit that silently destroys a person's image, both in the eyes of people and in the sight of Allah, is constant complaining. Many people do not even realize they are doing it. They believe they are simply being honest, expressing their pain, or letting things out. But when complaining becomes a daily habit, it slowly changes how people see you and how blessings respond to you. Complaining does not always come in loud words. Sometimes it appears in repeated negativity, constant dissatisfaction, and a habit of focusing only on what is missing instead of what is present. Every conversation becomes about problems, stress, disappointment, and frustration. Over time, people begin to feel drained around such a person. They may care about you, they may love you, but emotionally, they start to step back because negativity is heavy on the soul. Islam teaches us that there is a clear difference between seeking help and spreading complaint. Seeking help is turning to Allah or a trusted person with humility and hope. Complaining is repeating the same frustration again and again without patience, without gratitude, and without trust in Allah's wisdom. When someone complains constantly, it sends a silent message: I do not see Allah's blessings in my life. And this is dangerous because Allah reminds us that ingratitude does not remove hardship, it increases it. My dear brothers and sisters, when you complain about everything, people slowly stop respecting your strength. They begin to see you as someone who cannot handle difficulty, someone who collapses at every test. Even if you are strong inside, constant complaining hides that strength from the world. On the other hand, when you face hardship with patience, calm speech, and trust in Allah, people naturally admire you. They see dignity, they see resilience, they see faith in action. Allah does not tell us that life will be easy. Tests are part of our journey. Pain is real, struggles are real, but Islam teaches us how to carry those struggles with grace. A believer acknowledges pain but does not drown in it. A believer feels difficulty but does not allow it to define every word they speak. When you replace constant complaint with quiet patience and gratitude, your heart becomes lighter and your image becomes stronger. Gratitude does not mean pretending everything is perfect. Gratitude means recognizing that even within difficulty, Allah has given you blessings others are still praying for. Health, faith, safety, food, guidance, these are gifts that deserve remembrance. When you train your tongue to thank Allah instead of complaining to people, something beautiful happens. Allah opens doors. Hearts soften toward you. Respect returns naturally. My dear brothers and sisters, complaining pushes people away, but gratitude draws them closer. Complaining weakens your spirit, but patience strengthens it. Complaining blocks blessings, but thankfulness invites more. If you want to protect your image, protect your tongue from constant negativity, speak with hope, speak with trust, and when the burden feels heavy, take it to Allah in dua, not to every human ear. Because the one who trusts Allah quietly is always stronger than the one who complains loudly. 3. Arrogance and looking down on others, the silent habit that destroys respect. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most dangerous habits that destroys a person's image is arrogance. It is dangerous because it often hides itself very well. Many people do not realize they are arrogant. They believe they are simply confident, outspoken, or aware of their own worth. But there is a very thin line between confidence and arrogance, and when that line is crossed, respect begins to disappear quietly. Arrogance is not always loud. It does not always come with harsh words. Sometimes it appears in subtle ways. It shows when a person constantly interrupts others, dismisses opinions, corrects people unnecessarily, or behaves as though their experiences, struggles, or achievements are more important than everyone else's. It appears when someone speaks down to others, mocks them indirectly, or makes them feel small without openly insulting them. People feel it immediately, even if nothing is said. Allah warns us very clearly about arrogance because it is a disease of the heart. When arrogance enters the heart, it blinds a person from seeing their own faults. They begin to believe they are better because of their knowledge, their wealth, their background, their appearance, or even their religious practice. But my dear brothers and sisters, none of these things belong to us permanently. Everything we have is a gift from Allah, and the gift can be taken away at any moment. When you look down on others, you slowly lose the love and respect of people. They may still greet you, they may still smile, but deep inside, their hearts pull away. They no longer feel safe expressing themselves around you. They no longer feel valued in your presence. Over time, they stop seeking your company, your advice, or your friendship. This is how arrogance destroys relationships without creating a single argument. Islam teaches us that true honor comes from humility. The more humble a person is, the more Allah raises them in the hearts of people. The Prophet ﷺ was the most honored human being to ever walk this earth. Yet he sat with the poor, listened patiently to others, and never made anyone feel insignificant. That is the standard Islam gives us. Not dominance, not superiority, but humility and mercy. My dear brothers and sisters, humility does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking of yourself less. It means recognizing that everyone is fighting a battle you cannot see. It means understanding that someone you look down upon today may be closer to Allah than you are. When you adopt humility, people feel peace around you. They feel respected. They feel heard. And naturally, your image becomes stronger, not weaker. Arrogance repels hearts, but humility attracts them. Arrogance isolates, but humility connects. If you truly want to protect your image, protect your heart from pride, speak gently. Listen more than you talk. Treat people with dignity, regardless of their status. Because the moment you lower others, you lower yourself in the sight of Allah and in the hearts of His creation. 4. Breaking trust and revealing what was confided, the habit that silently destroys your reputation. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most destructive habits a person can develop is breaking trust. Trust is something sacred in Islam. It is not small. It is not optional. It is an amana from Allah. When someone trusts you with their words, their pain, their secrets, or their private struggles, they are placing something heavy in your hands. How you handle that trust determines not only your image in the eyes of people, but your standing with Allah. Many people do not break trust openly. They do it quietly. They repeat a private conversation as a small comment. They share something confidential as a joke. They justify it by saying, I didn't mention names, or it wasn't serious. But my dear brothers and sisters, trust is not measured by intention alone. It is measured by action. The moment you speak what was meant to remain private, the trust is already broken. When a person becomes known for revealing what was confided to them, something very serious happens. People stop opening up to them. People stop sharing their struggles. People stop trusting their presence. Even if no one confronts you, your reputation quietly changes. You may still be surrounded by people, but you are no longer trusted. And a person without trust has lost one of the most valuable forms of respect. Islam places enormous importance on amana, because a believer is meant to be a source of safety, not fear. When someone speaks to you, they should feel protected, not exposed. When someone confides in you, they should feel relief, not regret. That is why breaking trust is not a small sin. It damages hearts, it damages relationships, and it damages your own character. My dear brothers and sisters, once trust is broken, it is extremely difficult to rebuild. An apology may be accepted, but the memory remains. The person may forgive you, but they will never confide in you the same way again. This is why Islam teaches us to guard our tongues and our intentions when it comes to the matters of others. Not everything you know needs to be shared. Not everything you hear needs to be repeated. Silence in these moments is an act of worship. Some people break trust because they want attention. Others do it to feel important, as though sharing information gives them status. But understand this very clearly. The respect you gain from gossip is temporary, and the damage you cause is permanent. Allah does not raise people through betrayal. Allah raises people through integrity. A trustworthy person carries dignity even when they are not present. People speak well of them in their absence. They say you can tell them anything. They say they are safe. This kind of reputation is priceless. It opens hearts, it strengthens relationships, and it earns the pleasure of Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, if you want to protect your image, protect the trust people place in you, treat secrets as sacred, treat private conversations as amana, and remember that Allah is always aware of what you conceal and what you reveal. The one who guards trust is guarded by Allah, and the one who betrays trust eventually betrays themselves. 5. Chasing validation from people instead of Allah, the habit that slowly empties your dignity. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most exhausting and image-destroying habits a person can fall into is living for the approval of people instead of the pleasure of Allah. This habit often begins quietly. You want to be liked, you want to be accepted, you want people to understand you, praise you, choose you, and value you. These desires feel natural, but when they become the foundation of how you live, speak, and decide, they slowly strip you of dignity without you even realizing it. When a person chases validation from people, their behavior begins to change. They speak differently depending on who is in front of them. They compromise their values to avoid disapproval. They say yes when their heart wants to say no. They remain silent when they should speak up. They explain themselves excessively. Over time, people sense this. They may not say it openly, but they feel that you are trying too hard. And sadly, when you chase people, they often pull away. Allah created human beings with changing hearts. Today they praise you, tomorrow they criticize you. Today they support you, tomorrow they abandon you. If your self-worth depends on their opinions, your heart will never be at peace. You will constantly adjust yourself, questioning your choices, doubting your worth, and feeling anxious about how you are perceived. This inner instability eventually reflects outward and your image weakens. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam teaches us a powerful truth. Honor comes from Allah alone. When you seek Allah's pleasure sincerely, Allah places acceptance for you in the hearts of people without you begging for it. You do not need to perform. You do not need to impress. You do not need to explain your every decision. You simply live with sincerity and Allah takes care of the rest. Chasing validation also makes a person vulnerable. When someone knows that your happiness depends on their approval, they gain power over you. They can manipulate you, disrespect you, and take advantage of your kindness. But when your heart is connected to Allah, no human being controls your worth. You become emotionally strong. You become calm. You become dignified. Even when people misunderstand you, you remain steady. My dear brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ never lived for applause. He spoke the truth even when it cost him relationships, comfort, and safety. His strength came from his connection to Allah, not from people's approval. That is why his presence commanded respect. When you stop seeking validation from people, something beautiful happens. You become authentic. You stop pretending. You stop forcing connections. And people either respect you naturally or remove themselves quietly. Living for Allah does not mean isolating yourself or ignoring people. It means that your decisions are guided by truth, not by fear of rejection. You still show kindness, you still show respect, but you no longer beg for acceptance. You understand that not everyone will like you, and that is perfectly okay. Even the most righteous people were disliked, misunderstood, and rejected. My dear brothers and sisters, when you free yourself from the prison of people's approval, you regain your dignity. You speak with confidence rooted in faith. You walk with calmness rooted in trust. You stop explaining yourself to those who have already decided not to understand you. And Allah replaces your fear of people with peace in your heart. If you want to protect your image, protect your intention, ask yourself daily, am I doing this for Allah or for people? Because the one who lives for people will always feel empty, but the one who lives for Allah will never be disappointed. 6. Responding to disrespect with disrespect, the habit that lowers you to the level of the one who hurt you. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most common habits that destroys a person's image is reacting emotionally when disrespected. This habit feels justified in the moment because pain triggers the ego. When someone insults you, talks down to you, ignores your value, or treats you unfairly, the heart burns and the tongue wants to respond immediately. But Islam teaches us that not every reaction is strength. In fact, most damage to a person's dignity happens not because they were disrespected, but because of how they responded to that disrespect. When you reply to insult with insult, anger with anger, or rudeness with rudeness, you may feel temporary relief, but you lose something far more valuable. You lose composure, you lose control, and most importantly, you lose respect in the eyes of people and reward in the sight of Allah. People may say they were both wrong, and in that moment the original injustice disappears because your reaction overshadowed it. Allah teaches us restraint because restraint protects dignity. Anyone can shout, anyone can insult, anyone can react impulsively, but not everyone can pause, breathe, and choose silence or wisdom. When you remain calm, while being provoked, you are not being weak, you are demonstrating mastery over yourself. And self-control is one of the highest forms of strength in Islam. My dear brothers and sisters, reacting emotionally gives the other person power over you. It shows them that they can control your mood, your words, and your behavior. But when you respond with calmness, silence, or a dignified answer, you take that power back. You show that your character is not dependent on how others treat you. This is why many conflicts grow worse. One careless response leads to another, and before you know it, reputations are damaged and relationships are destroyed. The Prophet ﷺ faced mockery, insults, and rejection far beyond what most of us experience. Yet he responded with patience, dignity, and mercy. He chose his words carefully, and at times he chose silence. His calm response did not make him weak, it made him respected even by his enemies. This is the standard Islam gives us. Not emotional explosions, but emotional discipline. Responding to disrespect with restraint also protects your inner peace. When you react impulsively, your heart remains disturbed long after the moment has passed. You replay the argument in your mind. You regret your words. You feel unsettled. But when you choose patience, your heart remains light. You sleep better. You move on faster. And Allah rewards you for controlling yourself. My dear brothers and sisters, dignity does not come from winning arguments. It comes from maintaining character. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. Sometimes it is a calm, respectful boundary. And sometimes it is walking away and leaving the matter to Allah. Not every disrespect deserves a reply, and not every person deserves access to your emotions. If you want to protect your image, protect your reactions. Learn to pause before responding. Ask yourself whether your words will elevate you or lower you, because the one who controls their anger controls their life. And the one who leaves the matter to Allah is never truly defeated. My dear brothers and sisters, as we reflect on these habits, remember this very important truth. Your image is not about fame, popularity,